Welcome back. We are going to start with some color correction basics in this tutorial. We're going to go over some color correction here, just kind of the basics and stuff. Since this is a beginner video, there's some things that we'll dive into that's kind of needed to know. I'm not going to dive into like a lot of theory or anything like that. At the end of this tutorial, I'll point you in the direction of a really good tutorial here on Pact. But let's get started. We're going to be using the Lumetri color within Premiere, which, I just started using Lumetri a couple years ago, and I've just been blown away. There's other products out there like DaVinci Resolve and stuff that is a great color corrector, but Lumetri is like really, really good for just getting in there and color correcting something really quick and easy. I've been floored by this product. So that being said, this is kind of the quick little overview. Everything's kind of grayed out and stuff, but if I click on this clip, everything becomes active. We have this basic color correction tab. We have a creative tab. We have the curves tab. We have the color wheels match. We have the HSL secondaries and vignette. Some of these, like the curves, the color wheels, and secondaries, is more of an advanced featurette, and we're not really going to be touching on those things in these videos. But we will be going over the basic color correction, the creative, and the vignette. One of my favorites. I know it's kind of cheesy, but that's what I like using sometimes, if it warrants it. So taking a look at these, we click on Lumetri Scopes, and it's going to pull up a scope. So what this is representing is the color spectrum of the image that Lumetri is looking at right now. So I click over here, the scope changes because this shot is different. Just going to mute this real quick, guys. Okay. So, it's real time. You can see it move with the shot. If you look at like this region of the scope, it's matching up with what that region is in that shot. So you can kind of see that headlight kind of moving around. You see this moving up. You can see this moving around and stuff. That is what is being represented. It's really kind of interesting, cool. So let's kind of go over the basics of what we are looking at here and what we're concerned about when we're doing color correction. So this first photo that's also going to be provided to you for reference is this here is the 100% IRE spectrum. This is where all of our whites reside. So in this shot, you can see all these whites and stuff, and that is where the clipping field would be. So we don't necessarily want to be bringing the whites up above that, because then the whites, everything turns like just full on white, and you can see like this small detail of these trees in the background. If you go up above this 100%, that detail will disappear. That being said, the top is being the whites. You have color all in here. The very bottom is being your blacks. So if you do bring the blacks down below this level of 0, then you would notice that all these blacks, all this detail that's in this shot, like all this paneling and all this stuff, all that would just be black, and you would not see this fine detail in there at all, meaning that that information would be lost when it's being broadcast. So that's what we're trying to not do. We're trying to bring the blacks so they're up and above that 0 so we can see them, and the whites down below the 100 point so we can see them also, see all that detail. And that being said, like sometimes the whites might be low, so you want to bring them up just to kind of get a better balance to your whole entire shot. So this is the waveform RGB that we're looking at here. We're going to flip on over to an illustration of the Vectorscope. So this Vectorscope is showing us the chroma levels of the image. The chroma being like her red shirt here, the red stripes, basically all the color in the image, the green, even the skin tones and face, all the color in there is what we call chroma. So with this Vectorscope, we're going to be keeping that chroma all down within this hexagon. That's the clipping region of looking at a Vectorscope. So here we're seeing the chroma, the color of the shot. This is the high levels of that chroma, and here's the low levels of that chroma, more towards the middle of this. So we're just keeping all that chroma within this hexagon clipping area. Okay, so looking at that, that's pretty much what we're going to discuss and stuff within this section here. In the other sections, we're going to really dive into what all these sliders do and stuff and what we're actually looking at to create our look. Our look meaning that, you know, like this shot here is just kind of a flat look. Like the whites look white, the blacks look black. There isn't a certain color tone to the image and stuff. And as a colorist, you know, you want to look, does your commercial or your film or whatever you're working on warrant having a certain look, meaning a certain color temperature? Do you want everything to be kind of a David Fincher look of, like, if you're familiar with the movie Fight Club, everything's kind of greenish, you know, all of Fincher's films have got this kind of greenish hue to them to just kind of give to the somber feel of the film. Commercial work, we can do the same thing. This particular spot, we're going to be looking at some ideas and stuff. Do we want everything to just look nice and clean and flat? Or do we want to kind of give it a nice, you know, color feel and stuff to kind of match up with what we're doing, what our client has? So we'll take a look at that in the next video in the color palette. It's one of my tricks of the trade. Another quick little trick to the trade is this tutorial here. This is here on Pact. It's got Adobe Premiere, green screens, captions, proxies, and more. One thing that's in this that we're not really going to dive into in this beginner's tutorial, it really goes into some great detail of the Lumetri color corrector. This little section here is just phenomenal and stuff. You guys want to take a look at that if you're really more interested in the color correction? Take a look at that, guys.